Friends, my dear masters and my dear gods, I am S.K. Rajan, Vice Chairman of the Indian Federation of Spiritual Scientists and a past Managing Trustee of the Pyramid Valley. I take pleasure in welcoming all of you for this great program where the magnificent spiritual revelations of Harold Percival through his book Thinking and Destiny is conveyed to everyone. I am accompanied by Rajan, my life partner, and Poonima, who are both senior meditators, having been introduced into meditation 22 years back. This book, Thinking and Destiny, has been considered as the book of the century by Brahmarshi Patriji, and that explains why he has been sending out all the important messages from this book, from all the chapters thereof, so that we are able to gain more and more knowledge about spirituality. And the uniqueness of this book is that it's taken almost 30 years to 35 years for writing the book and composing it. It was released in 1946 under the name of Law of Thought, and later the name was changed to Thinking and Destiny because Percival believes that unless your thinking is absolutely pure, absolutely sincere, you cannot create a good destiny for yourself. So thinking is what creates destiny, and from thinking onwards we have the other parts of the functioning of the human through words, through actions and through deeds. So today we have taken a subject which will really have an impact on every individual upon his karmic decisions that could influence his karma. It could be good, it could be bad. But then, what really makes us do good karma or bad karma is ultimately our emotions, which have to be kept always in a sort of control, so that we do things which are most congenial and suitable for all those around us, whether they are human beings or animals or nature. So with these words, I commence today's episode on emotions. Gloom. Gloom is a psychic state, a state of feeling and of unsatisfied desires. This is not a state created in the present but comes from the past. It was there created by brooding over unsuccessful attempts to satisfy a desire without understanding the reason for the lack of success. A person busy with attempts to satisfy an appetite has no chance to brood. No matter what other trouble he gets into, if he keeps busy, he will keep away gloom. At any period in the present, when he is disappointed or depressed by acts or events, his gloom comes over him and envelops him. Gloom overtakes a person in cyclic periods. If he welcomes it, broods over the present and feels dissatisfied, that feeling feeds and adds to the gloom, which becomes even deeper and its cycle more frequent. Finally, gloom is always with him. Some people may even enjoy it as a steady companion, but this cannot last. The accumulation of gloom, an undefined, indistinct feeling, will lead to tangible and definite despondency and despair.
So, hi friends. Today, Percival, we are reading the paragraph on the messages given by Percival. The topic is emotions, and the first emotion he has talked about is gloom. Gloom is caused because when we repeatedly try to get some contentment out of the desire which we have, and we don't succeed, we get into the gloom state. And what happens is we keep going into that state if we have repeated thoughts over that emotion, and we stay on that emotion for a long time. It'll not give us anything. It'll and we'll end up more in depression or despair is what he says. And the actual solution for this also Percival has given, that is, we have to get over gloom by becoming busy. We have to put our focus on achieving what we really want, more on that than of the result that comes from that effort. So that is what Percival says. So it's so beautifully put. So we should not stay in that any emotion, we should not stay for a very long time, so because that will lead to any negative emotion especially. So we should not stay in that. We should come out of that very quickly. You can see children, young children, they are so spontaneous. They are so quick to come out of any emotion. They cry, the next moment they laugh, and it's so beautiful to observe them. So you can do that. Actually, you can go back and observe children and learn from them to come out of each emotion very quickly. And gloom is one such thing we should never stay on. We should not stay there for a very long time. We should come out of it by becoming more busy and put our focus on the effort more. So that is what Percival says here.
Yeah, it is very beautifully written by Percival, sir. Exceedingly great. This emotion of gloom should be avoided as much as possible. What he says is why gloom engulfs us is because we do not know. It is because of the result that we get out of our desire. That is, we don't get the successful the result that we needed, we wanted, but it comes out to be something else. We think of something and we desire something, but something else comes in front of us. So it is the unsuccessful desire that is what is the cause of gloom. That is what it says. But once we understand the reason for our not being successful, that is very important. That then the gloom vanishes. So we have to understand, yes, being unsuccessful is also another experience that we have to go through in order to learn some lessons. So that's why they say that failure is the stepping stone of success. So we should not just fall away and stay away in the same step of failure, and then gloom engulf us. Some people, he says, wittingly that some people also they take gloom as their companion. Throughout life it will be there. So that should not be the state of affairs. Actually, we should change it. We should understand the reason behind every failure. Then we'll learn from that and we move on. So that is how we have to keep on trying, and even failure comes, yes, that is also another experience. So nothing is wrong here, nothing is negative here. So that we will not be immersed in such emotions like gloom and then waste our time in that and simply brooding over whatever happened. That won't help us. So bringing the past to the present and always thinking of that, all those things, gloom, that is the quality of gloom. So we should never entertain that emotion, and we should know by our knowledge we can overcome gloom. That's what he says. So we should know why it has happened, why that happened, so why there is failure. All those things, if you go to the whys of things, then we will definitely get the answer, and we'll be clearer. So it will be better not to get into such bad emotions. It will not do good to us at all. So very clearly put, very excellent way. And as Purnima also has given you suggestions, go to children. Children are very quick in changing their emotions. They, from one emotion to another, they easily pass through. So that is how we should learn from them. Yeah, we were also like that in our childhood, but now we have forgotten that, and we stick on to one emotion. That is not correct. We move on like that.
I would like to add here, I think that is what makes us adults. We are not children anymore because we stick on to emotions. So we have to get back our childhood now.
Yeah, you should become a child in order to enter the kingdom of God. That's what Jesus Christ has told. So that means we have to change, come out of every emotions very fast, every emotion very fast, so that we become a child and enter the kingdom of God.
I would like to add something here and supplement what both of them have said. That is, it makes it is funny to see and funny to read rather that some people may even enjoy gloom as a steady companion, but this cannot last. But here it is very evident that those who are in gloom are people who want to be always projecting themselves as victims of certain circumstances. That only expresses or gives us a feeling that they lack in confidence, and this confidence cannot be got as long as you continue that gloomy emotion. So the best way to get over that is to be involved in work, and as Percival rightly says, get busy, start doing work so that you will never have any reason to even think about it. Because invariably people think about the past and express a lot of regrets over it, but we should always understand past is history, future is a mystery, and so we should live in the present. So when you start living in the present, this gloom will no longer be there. So off we go to the continuation of this para. The cure for gloom is resolution and action. Desire cannot be satisfied or put down or killed, but it can be changed. It can be changed only by thinking. The best way to dissipate gloom is to inquire into it and try to see how and why it came. This very inquiry will tend to drive it away, and it is at once weakened by resolution and action. At each return of the gloom, its force will be lessened if it is so met. Finally, this treatment will dissipate it.
So again, he is giving a clearer picture of how to come out of gloom. As Mrs. Girja Rajan has already told us, we should know, we should try to know why we could not achieve the desired results. The whys of things we should inquire. So that is the same thing that Percival has also told here. We should know why we should not kill the desire, or we should not we should not leave it just like that. We should change it, is what he says. And we should know the cause of why we could not achieve it, and make up a resolution to achieve the desired result. That is, we should give it respect and know what to do exactly to get the result as we desire. So that is what he says, and that will definitely put away the whole gloom. He says we'll be out of gloom completely when we when we have a scientific bent of mind and we inquire about each and everything, then we will be able to come out of any such situations easily. So beautifully Percival sir has given us the solution here.
Yeah, very, very beautifully put. That is, on the one side, one hand, you should inquire into your failure, why it has happened, what did I not do in order to get success, what was my lacuna in not fulfilling my desire, so that that portion should be addressed. That should be inquired into. So that on the one side. On the other hand, you should have resolution and action. That is, you should have a strong resolve to do something, to change your desire. And if you are not successful in one desire, the life doesn't end there. So that the gloom entirely engulfs you. That is not, should not be the position. You should change your desire, go into another desire, make it successful. That is, plunge into action. So that is what he says. So we should always be active, doing something or the other. That is a solution for this. So when we do things in a proper way and devote all our attention to it, yes, gloom cannot enter our system at all. Of course, every time we do this, the gloom may come, but in a minimized measure. So it will like that. It will reduce. The gloom will reduce itself by to zero level. So like that, we should. There are alternatives to come out of the gloom state. Some people continue to be in gloom state all the time because, as Rajan sir has rightly put it, it is because of that self-pity or being victimhood that they feel. So that should not be the self-pity is another form of ego. We should not entertain that. Self-importance, self-pity, then victimhood, all these terms are should be removed from our system. We should never entertain all that. So we can really, it is very easy to be without any gloom. So we should practice that. So take these tips from Percival sir, and then we will move ahead in a successful manner in this lifetime.
The next emotion that Percival talks about is pessimism. Pessimism, though a state of the feeling, is more mental in its nature than gloom. Pessimism results from thinking to satisfy desires. When the doer in the body discovers that the desires cannot be satisfied, the discovery reacts on it and produces a psychic state of dissatisfaction. Everything is then felt by the doer in the body as an illusion of the senses and a delusion of itself. The doer seeks happiness, but it cannot attain to happiness through the gratification of its feelings and desires, and cannot realize the futility of trying to do so. Its dissatisfaction with itself and the world, and the expectation of the worst in every situation, comes from this failure of the doer to get what will satisfy its feelings and desires, and from its not knowing that desires must be changed.
So this is also very important. Many people entertain this emotion, that is pessimism. Pessimism is exactly disastrous and negative thinking, and it is more mental, is what Percival says. So how we should come out of it is actually given by Brahmarshi Pitamaha Patriji. That is, always take out the those thoughts and replace it with positive and miraculous ones. And I feel this can be, all these emotions can be, we can rectify all these things by regular practice of meditation. I think that will bring about a lot of awareness in ourselves and how we think. And he gives the technical part here. Percival gives us the technical part where how we come into pessimism. It is again when the desires are not successful, we end up in those thoughts. We always, what happens is, it becomes a habit, and in every situation we expect the worst to come, and that is exactly pessimism, which we should never have. And as PSS masters, I feel we will never have that. As we are doing continuous practice of meditation, all these emotions can be, we can come out of all these emotions.
Yeah, it is beautifully put that meditation can help us to come out of all the lower and the negative emotions. So pessimism is another type of negative emotion that we should avoid. Here I would like to quote from Richard Bach. That is, the mark of our ignorance is the depth of our belief in injustice and tragedy. We try to see only tragedy and injustice and everything that is happening in the whole world. That is only an indication that how deep we are in ignorance. So we should replace that ignorance by right knowledge. Then all these pessimistic ideas will get away from our system. As Purnima has rightly told, it comes out of failure in our desire, not getting fulfilled or not satisfied with that. The doer gets upset, so he goes in, and because of that he sees everything outside of him also as failures only. He can spot only failures. He can spot only tragedy everywhere, injustice and tragedy everywhere. So the doer has to now think with awareness, and then replace all these things with good actions and change the desires and get into action, so that when once he is successful with his desire, definitely the pessimistic ideas will vanish away from him. So he can lead a life without pessimism, without any gloom. Successfully he can march ahead.
Pessimism is driven out when one is able to feel himself in the hearts of others and others in his own heart. Then one will soon discover that all things are not running on to ultimate doom, but that there is a bright and glorious future for the doers in human bodies and in human beings.
So again, he gives the solution beautifully. So he says, when oneness sets in, that when you understand that you and the other person are the same, we are basically the same, then pessimism is driven away, is what Percival says. So very beautifully put. So when we understand who we are and when we understand who the other person is completely, I think all these emotions, negative emotions, will not be there. So, and again, as Mrs. Girja Rajan has also put it, that meditation will help a lot, and we will be able to understand who we really are and how we are connected with the other person at all times. We are all the same, we are all one. So when that happens, pessimism is driven away, is what Percival is telling us here.
Yeah, so they should come to that understanding, and that knowledge he should get, and that ignorance should be driven away, and then it should be replaced by that knowledge. And the knowledge is that you and the others are not different, you and the others are the same. So then the life will start brightening up, and there are brighter sides to our life. It is not always dark as a pessimist will think. It is not, we will not expect anything bad, adverse things to happen, or adverse situations to come up. No, he will start thinking in that way, and he will definitely he will take to that thought that if he sees himself in others, and that love bond that is there is established, that is naturally with all the beings, all the uh, beings which are there present on the earth, then that oneness is felt, and definitely he can come out of that pessimistic ideas. Definitely there will be brighter ideas coming to him, so he will not think in a negative way all the time. Definitely meditation helps to overcome this pessimistic view of things. A meditator can easily do that. So that is what Patriji also says. So all our emotions should be there, but in a controlled manner, in the limited amounts. We should have all the emotions, but not to a great level in which we are lost in the emotions. That should not be the affair. So that should not be the condition in anyone's life. So we should think of all these things and start thinking with awareness, and what thoughts to be entertained, what thoughts to be not to be entertained, and keep away from having any attachment to the objects of our thought. All these things will lead us to greater and better emotions. Then life will be even much better.
Malice. Now, the next point and the next emotion is malice. Malice is a state of the doer in which, without provocation, it desires harm to another or to people in general. The malice in revenge, jealousy, envy, and anger is not referred to here. There are people who rejoice at the loss or injury that befalls others and who delight in doing harm and causing pain, injury, or loss. This general state comes on by continual indulgence in anger, envy, jealousy, hatred, and revenge. From the temporary outburst of these passions, the doer gradually becomes the channel through which malignant creatures opposed to humanity work. Then such a man will himself be cut off from the light of his intelligence and become a human aligned with evil forces against other human beings. This destiny can be prevented by checking the continual indulgence in anger and the other outbursts of passion. This is not saying that a man should not be angry under provocation, but refers to giving way to bursts of malignant passion. Besides checking the outburst, he should put himself in the other's place and try to be just after having ascertained all the facts. Very often he himself is to blame. He should try to have a feeling of forbearance and goodwill.
So Percival here talks about people who are so very that is malice, people who have malice, that is who have been entertaining anger, hatred, jealousy for a long time. So that causes malice. Malice is nothing but causing harm to one other person. He wants to have that, and it when they want to when he has that those emotions of anger, hatred, jealousy, and everything, he continually he goes on to it becomes a passion, malignant passion, which that is to harm others. It goes on to become a passion that is malignant. So that is what Percival says here, and it should never be there. I'm sure meditators will never have malice. It will never be we are in this beautiful path. Definitely we will not be thinking of harming anyone. So that is should be cut off, is what Percival says. At the very basic level, it should be cut off. We should go to get the facts clear, and we should try to understand the other person and not entertain hatred, anger, jealousy, and all these lower emotions, because this will this he says that we are immediately cut off from the light of the intelligence. We are cut off from that, and we are actually attracting the evil forces, is what Percival says. That is so very beautifully put. So I really love this message that Percival has given, because this is prevalent in all the people. Generally we can see now there are a lot of people having malice. I think they are actually creating their own bad destiny for themselves. I think meditators can reach out to them and put them into meditation and bring them out of this, because they are creating such a hell for themselves. So this should be cut off, and this should be completely brought out of our system. If there is any, we should go back and find if there is any kind of malice within ourselves. We should become aware up to that level, and we should keep like giving and bringing a kind of we should ascertain what is there within ourselves, and we should cut those thoughts accordingly.
Yeah, it is very beautifully written down by Percival sir. That is the lower emotion, that is malice. Now I am reminded of Lord Buddha, what he has told. He told a term called Vitaka. Vitaka means a turbulent, denotes a turbulent mind. So if a person continues to hold on to a turbulent mind, definitely he will be the cause of all misery. He will start doing only harm to others. So that will be the result. So that he says that I have never seen a mind which is in Vitaka state more dangerous than anything else. He never says there's a bad person or a good person. He says only the mind is the culprit. So either it is in Vitaka, that is in high turbulence, Then if it continues like that, then he will start doing harm only to others. So by meditation, one should tame the mind or cultivate the mind in such a manner that there is no turbulence. And again, Buddha says, I have not seen a better thing that is there who can do only good to others. Such a mind is brought about by cultivating the mind, the turbulent mind, the Vitaka mind should be cultivated. Then things are totally different. That is what he says. So we should never entertain harming others. Those thoughts should be cut away right off when it arises. So we should flush out all these bad emotions from our system, and so that we can have a very good life for ourselves.
So, friends, in conclusion, I would like to say that Patriji very often refers to us as gods, and that was really a pleasant surprise for me when I attended the first session, because I started wondering how is it that we are gods. Then he said, we are all born gods, and every one of us is a god. And the moment you start imbibing that spirit in you, by which you call yourself a god, and every other human being is a god, then invariably it will result in our own considering others as equal to us, and thereby we also try to develop the quality of godliness in us, so that we have a world in which there is no room for animosity, room for fear, room for any feelings of distrust among others. That way, the entire mankind remains free and happy. And that is what we are looking for, because it is only a feeling of inequality that results in such sort of negative tendencies. And in fact, insofar as this aspect of malice is concerned, we ought to get over that by having a feeling of forbearance and goodwill among every one of us. So with these words, we end this session today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks to Purnima and Girija Rajan.
Thank you very much.